Shares in Hong Kong jump on reports that President Xi Jinping will meet with some of the nation's top entrepreneurs next week. A site in Tung Chung, the only land in the government's land sale program for this quarter, draw 4 bids when its tender closed at noon. And pop culture festival ComplexCon will be arranging refunds for concert tickets due to a date error for the K-pop girl group NJZ performance. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Zhu. Shares in Hong Kong rallied on optimism that President Xi Jinping is planning to meet with business leaders next week, including Jack Ma from Alibaba, where the Hang Seng Index closed at day high and ended the week up nearly 1,500 points. Evelyn Bai reports.
Fueled by technology stocks, the benchmark Hang Seng Index kept the momentum going, surging 805 points, or 3.6%. to close at the highest level in over 4 months at 22,620. Daily trading volume reached $364.6 billion, exceeding $300 billion for 2 consecutive days. For the week, the HSI also performed remarkably, rising 1,486 points, the biggest weekly gains in 4 months. Sources said, in a rare occasion, business leaders including Alibaba's co-founder Jack Ma, Chief Executive of Tencent Pony Ma, and Chief Executive of Xiaomi Lei Jun will attend a symposium chaired by President Xi Jinping next week. Shares of these companies rose considerably, with Alibaba jumping 6.34%, Tencent rising 7.42%, and Xiaomi reaching new high. Alibaba Health was the best blue-chip performer of the day, soaring 29%, with 50% gain this week. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
A site in Tung Chung, the only plot in the government's land sale program for this quarter, attracted at least 4 bids when its tender closed at noon.
Among the bidders were Sun Hung Kai Properties, as well as Sinoland and Keiwa International. The latter two had also submitted their bids when the lot was first up for tender about a year and a half ago. Area 106B in Tung Chung, which covers a site area of 114,000 square feet, is expected to yield 745 units when completed. The parcel has previously invited tenders in September 2023 but was unsuccessful, drawing only 4 bids. The original plan was to build around 400 flats. Last month, the government announced that the plot would be up for sale again with simplified tender conditions and the requirement to build government facilities removed. Its latest market valuation falls somewhere between $500 million and $800 million, or $1,250 to $2,000 per square foot.
The organizer of ComplexCon Hong Kong, a pop culture festival in the city, has announced a refund plan for fans affected by a technical glitch on the ticketing platform, which prevented them from securing tickets to a highly anticipated performance by K-pop girl group NJZ. Quentin Yang has the story.
The decision came after fans who purchased tickets on February 10th received tickets for dates that did not match the performance schedule of the South Korean girl group, formerly known as New Jeans. Complex Chinese stated that refunds will be processed for all valid ticket holders who submitted formal complaints to ComplexCon Hong Kong, ticketing platform CityLine, or the Consumer Council regarding the February 10th priority booking. The complaints must be dated on or before February 13th to qualify, it added. To request a refund, buyers must email their valid tickets and CityLine confirmation emails from the account used for purchase by 5 p.m. on Sunday. Note that handling fees charged by CityLine during purchase will not be refunded. ComplexCon Hong Kong emphasized that it reserves the final decision in case of disputes or objections regarding the refund process. The Consumer Council earlier reported receiving some 50 complaints related to the issue, involving more than $220,000. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
In the wake of the recent abuse situation among young people in the city, etomidate, the key ingredient of the space oil drug, is officially listed as a dangerous drug in the Gazette starting today. Evelyn Bai reports.
Following the publication of the Dangerous Drugs Ordinance Order 2025 in the Gazette, the key components of space oil drug, etomidate, and its three analogues, namely metomidate, proposate, and isoproposate, are listed as dangerous drugs with immediate effect. Under the revised law, trafficking and illicit manufacturing of these substances are liable to a maximum penalty of life behind bars and a fine of $5 million. Possession and consumption of these substances could face maximum penalties of 7 years in prison and a fine of $1 million. Taking to the airwaves, Commissioner for Narcotics Kenson Lee emphasized the significant deterrent effect of the law amendment, granting law enforcement stronger rights. He also noted that the use of rapid testing kits has been effective, as proven by the police arresting 5 individuals involved with space oil drug. However, David Ng, Executive Director of the Community Drug Advisory Council, raised concerns that some people will still take risks of trafficking or consuming drugs, even with the stricter law in place. Space oil drug has been popping up in Hong Kong for over 2 years, deeply rooted in communities. It may be too optimistic to think the drugs can be combated in the short term, he added. Data show that in 2024, a total of 300 people were reported for consuming space oil drug, among which 226 were under the age of 21. He suggested that schools can establish a 3-tier identification system, including prevention, follow-up on potential behaviors, and addressing drug use cases. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
The Chinese University of Hong Kong Medical Center has requested an additional 3-year deferral on repaying a $4 billion government loan, sparking concerns over its financial stability and warnings of a potential government takeover. Quinton Yang reports.
The non-profit private hospital, operated by CUHK, was originally scheduled to repay the first installment of principal and interest by March 18th, following an extension secured in 2022. However, citing ongoing cash flow issues, the hospital now seeks to postpone the deadline to 2027. At a Legislative Council panel meeting, lawmakers expressed skepticism, doubting the hospital's ability to meet even the revised timeline. Election Committee lawmaker Chen Wing-Kwan pointed to projections showing the hospital's cash reserves could drop to $183 million by the 2027-28 fiscal year, far short of the $400 million needed for the first payment. Secretary for Health Lo Chun-Mao confirmed the government could enforce stricter terms, such as a 3% interest rate increase or reclaiming the hospital if obligations are unmet. However, Lo stressed the government's preference to avoid drastic measures, calling on stakeholders to support its sustainable development. While the extension request will be submitted to LegCo's Finance Committee for further discussion, Dr. Feng Huang, Chief Executive Officer of CUHK Medical Center, admitted to early financial missteps, attributing them to limited market data during initial pricing. He outlined plans to optimize services and collaborate with insurers to adjust pricing strategies. Meanwhile, CUHK Council Chairman Zhang Chai expressed confidence in the hospital's future, highlighting the university's $3 billion investment and ongoing efforts to secure alternative financing. Quinton Yang, Cable News.
Hong Kong welcomed a record-breaking number of visitors in January, with a notable surge in non-mainland visitors.
According to the Tourism Board, 4.74 million visitor arrivals were logged last month, out of which 3.73 million were from the mainland, marking a 24% and 25% year-on-year increase respectively. Both figures are the highest since the pandemic. Non-mainland visitors reached nearly 1.02 million, 21% more than January last year, marking the third consecutive month that the number has exceeded 1 million. Several source markets maintained growth momentum, with visitors from the Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, South Korea, and Australia increasing by at least 30% compared to the same period last year. The board attributed such increase to the positive atmosphere from the Lunar New Year holiday and various large-scale events.
Targeting allies and rivals alike, U.S. President Donald Trump signed a presidential memorandum on Thursday to impose reciprocal tariffs on all major trading partners, a move he claimed would address trade imbalances. Quentin Yang reports.
Accusing other nations of implementing unfair trade policies against the U.S., President Donald Trump is sharpening plans to hit exports from the country's major trading partners. Dubbed the Fair and Reciprocal Plan, the initiative seeks to mirror tariffs, taxes, and regulatory barriers imposed by other countries on American goods.
And on trade, I have decided, for purposes of fairness, that I will charge a reciprocal tariff, meaning whatever countries charge the United States of America, we will charge them, no more, no less. In other words, they charge us a tax or tariff, and we charge them the exact same tax or tariff. Very simple.
In calculating what reciprocal tariff rate to levy on other nations, Trump said his administration will also be taking into account nations with value-added tax, which he labeled far more punitive than a tariff. Howard Lutnick, Trump's Commerce Secretary nominee, said analysis for country-specific tariffs will conclude by April 1st, with implementation possible as early as April 2nd. Trump emphasized the plan's flexibility, urging nations to negotiate or shift production to the U.S. to avoid tariffs. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
In Taiwan, the death toll from yesterday's gas explosion at a Taichung department store has risen to at least 4, with more than 30 injured. Among the victims is a family of 7 from Macau, of whom 2 were killed and 5 were injured, including a 2-year-old girl who remains in intensive care.
The explosion occurred around 11 a.m. yesterday as the family was passing by the Shinkolm Mitsukoshi department store. They were struck by falling debris, resulting in the deaths of a couple aged 58 and 56. Their 2-year-old granddaughter suffered brain damage, while 4 other family members sustained milder injuries. A doctor reported that the toddler underwent emergency surgery for severe head trauma. While her vital signs are stable, she continues to experience brain swelling and oxygen deprivation and needs further treatment. The other 2 fatalities are believed to be mall staff. The bodies of the deceased Macau residents will be repatriated with the assistance of the local Red Cross and relevant authorities. Preliminary investigations suggest the explosion was possibly caused by natural gas from a pipeline, though the exact cause remains under investigation.
Love is in the air across the city this Valentine's Day. Men were seen flocking to the flower market in Mongkok early to surprise their loved ones, while some 180 couples chose this special day to tie their knots, making lifelong commitments to one another. Evelyn Bai will tell us more.
Local florists had geared up for Valentine's Day, preparing bouquets for customers to choose. This man selected a bunch of flowers and said he was happy to buy flowers, hoping his partner would be as happy as a sunflower. This man bought 2 lovely bouquets, said one is for his wife and another is for his daughter. Of course, my wife deserves the more expensive bouquet, he added. Some florists noted that this year saw the slowest business in a decade, prompting them to lower the price to boost their business. Separately, at the Tsim Sha Tsui marriage registry, some couples chose this special day to say I do. We've been looking forward to this day for a long time, and it's a wonderful occasion to get married, said this groom. The bride humorously told her husband to make more money. This year, a total of 184 couples registered to marry on Valentine's Day, marking a 30% increase compared to last year. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, 1 or 2 light rain and mist patches in the morning and at night. Sunny intervals during the day. Tomorrow, temperature will range between 16 and 21 degrees. Moderate easterly winds becoming light winds later tomorrow. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Zhu. Thank you for watching and good night.